Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking breakout players for 2022 fantasy football. We're going to go position by position and have a few names hopefully for each. We'll see if I have a quarterback. I'm not sure yet, but we'll look through them here. We're just going to jump in. Start at quarterback, Jeff. Do you have a quarterback for your breakout list this year? Is there any?
I don't have anyone that I want to put the stamp of approval behind their name. I have a few that we can talk about, but no one that I'm going out and kind of risking that type of draft capital and thinking that this guy is a surefire to kind of have a breakout season.
Yeah. I'm with you. There's not a name. I know a lot of people are going to say Trey Lance, right, in this category. I just need to see something before I would do that.
That is actually one guy that I want nothing to do with. He's already ranked 13th quarterback. I would rather have Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. See, Trevor Lawrence is one that maybe could happen. Those if it's going to happen, it probably would be between Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence. And you know what? Justin Fields. You know what? I
think he might be okay. I don't think it'll be like a breakout. No, I'll even go this far. I think that I think that Zach Wilson actually has more of a chance to like really break out. I think having a year under their belt where they're playing is going to help these guys. And the ones that we're talking about, especially Trevor Lawrence, they, for better or worse, they spent the money and they put a lot of different weapons behind them, around them,
yep.
On the offensive line, trying to get better. I don't know if I can necessarily say that for Justin Fields, and I can't really say that for Trey Lance either. I think Debo talking about wanting to be not a two-way wide receiver and running back type of player hurts him. I don't know. It's a run-first offense. I don't think that he would have to do so much running for me to be that interested in him. And, Zach Wilson, they went out and they got a very high-skilled young wide receiver. They got Elijah Moore the year before that. They added Breece Hall. They are putting pieces around these guys, and we did see how good they were. So I would much rather do them than Trey Lance, even though he's ranked ahead of him.
Yeah, I'm with you. But no one, maybe someone does. I'm not seeing it yet. I'm just not there. So we'll just, I don't know if we'll even miss necessarily, because I could see us throw in like a Fields or a Lawrence on the end of our bench. That could be a guy that.
Yeah. Who would be your number one when we're talking about those guys? Like, who would you want to try?
It's honestly a toss-up for me, but I think it's honestly, that is so tough because I can see both. Sides, both players. Fields is interesting because I think that rushing ability is can help him in fantasy. But Lawrence was one of the best prospects in forever. He just was put in a terrible situation with a terrible, not NFL coach. Urban Meyer should never been coaching the NFL. So I think I lean Trevor Lawrence.
I would too by far.
Yeah.
The only other guy I want to name, just throw out there, is Derek Carr.
I love Derek Carr
because look, in 2016 he got to the 10th overall QB.
Yep.
He's never had as good of a situation with as much. He does look the part. Finally, I do think finally they put the weapons around him and he is going to get to throw the amount of touchdowns.
Yep.
It's all going to be up to him this year. So I like him as well. I kind of like what they're doing over there in Vegas.
Yeah, I would probably, Derek Carr is probably the top of my list. Honestly, that's probably, if I had to really look at it, it's probably Derek Carr in that situation.
And, he was he was the 10th quarterback at one point, so you could say he already broke out. That'd be fine. But that's why I'm not putting a stamp of approval on anyone, but that was really the two. Derek Carr and Trevor Lawrence would be interesting.
After all that, though, none of them are breakouts for us.
Yeah.
Just a couple potential. you're not going to be like, yep, this guy's going to be a breakout. It's a little further down. All right, let's move over to running back. So there's guys on this list that everyone's going to say, I don't think we're going to pick the main breakout running back candidate for everyone has, but we'll see. Did you put Javonte Williams on your list?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I did not either. And I believe if you go look around or talk to people, Javonte Williams is probably going to be the biggest name. 100% going to be the biggest name. Number 2 name is going to be Cam Akers. And I bet you don't have Cam Akers either.
Well, you know I don't.
So Cam Akers, Javonte Williams, they're going to be on everyone else's list. You're not going to find them on our list. And I'll just say, I want to get that out there and say why. Javonte Williams I'm not sure Melvin Gordon's going away. It was a 100% 50-50 split last year. It was like the 50-50est you can get, right? Even if Javonte gets a little more work, fine. That's great. Melvin Gordon's not going away. He's not. There's just no way. So I'm just not going to pick Javonte there. And I'm getting thrown off by how high he's getting ranked. So that's probably it too. Cam Akers, coming off an Achilles. He came back quick, right? But he actually didn't play well last year. He didn't actually play well. It was just all, he came back from an Achilles and everyone's all excited. He didn't play well. No one's come back from an Achilles and been good yet. It just hasn't happened.
Yet.
The level of player that have come back, you would look at the players and you're like, all right, I get it, right? I think Marlon Mack came back from it, but he's never done anything since he came back, right? And that's about the highest level you're getting. So Cam Akers, to me, I can't pick him because of that Achilles. And I don't know what he's going to be. So those guys didn't make our list. Jeff, who did make your list?
I feel like a broken record because I have to go back to my love a couple of years ago, and I got to go with my guys. And the number 1 guy on that list is going to be J.K. Dobbins. This guy, I just absolutely believe in the talent. I think he would have been extraordinarily good if he didn't just rip his knee up. And I think, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. When he was behind, I think he ran for, I'm pulling it off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it was 800 yards, 9 touchdowns, something like that. And about
805 and 9.
Okay, perfect. And that was with less than 150 carries. Yep. He was doing great. And yes, that rushing offense was top notch at those points. Can they get back there? I believe so. That is going to have to be their bread and butter. They let Hollywood go. So I think J.K. Dobbins is ready to step up and play the part of the other star on that offense. I should say the third, right? Andrews, Lamar, obviously number 1, and then him. I just love everything about him and all of the things that that I've been hearing about the injury, the rehab.
Yes.
Everything has been going the right direction. He's hungry. I absolutely love it.
So that's part of it. The injury that's what people are thrown off by, right? And he's not going to be ready. He's on the PUP list right now, which that's normal for it coming off. He would he'd be out there if he could. He showed up to practice today. Actually, I was reading this. He showed up to practice today and wanted in. And they're not going to let him in. And he wants to play. I think it was Ian Rappaport came out last week with a little news blurb that said he might not be ready for week 1. And Dobbins responded to that himself and said, "What are you talking about? I'm going to be there."
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, he wants to be there. The Ravens are obviously taking it slow, right? But I'm not worried if he's there week 1. I'm not. You know what? And in reality, if this drives his value down a little bit further, awesome. Better for us. Because maybe he's not there week 1. I think he will be. Maybe if he's not, I don't care if he's not there week 1 or week 2. Guess what? Week 3 through whatever, I'm going to get an awesome running back and probably get him at an even better value. But J.K. Dobbins, on my list too, of course. No, maybe easy. Like people I think that listen to this know, those are our guys. Or one of our guys. Mm-hmm. Who's the other one?
Etienne.
So Travis Etienne made my list too.
I can't believe it literally is just my list of breakouts before both of them got injured. And look, the rehabs, they got injured so early that they had plenty of time to get healthy. And they did. And it was actually probably a better thing. I don't want them to get injured. But if you're going to get injured, if you're going to miss a year, last year for the Jaguars was the one to miss.
Right.
And look, let Trevor Lawrence do his thing, learn a little bit. I think he'll get better. And Etienne is going to help that so much. He's going to be a great addition. James Robinson will help make sure they spell him so they don't overuse him. He is great out of the backfield. He can catch the ball. He has all the opportunity to really break out as well. And heaven knows Jaguars are looking for offense. And he is going to be a big part of that. Because I like that they went out and got wide receivers. But I don't think the people that they paid a lot of money to are like the game breakers. I think they're players that they needed in order to make sure Trevor Lawrence, who they put a lot of capital in, is going to be successful. I think Etienne is actually an athlete that can make a big difference. So I'm excited to see what he can do. More worried about the team. It's very hard to bounce back and create that that chemistry from where they were last year. But I believe that Etienne and Trevor Lawrence, because they know each other so well, can do it.
Yeah, I love Etienne this year. And actually the talk of Etienne is actually, he's getting some very positive just news throughout the fantasy world, which drive him up a little bit, but not terribly bad yet. But I love those two. And they're such a good value. It's such a good value. You know, honestly, that's all I had.
I do have one more.
Yeah.
And this one is. It is not because of my alma mater, but Ken Walker, man.
So, yeah, I don't know. I love Rashad Penny.
And look, I think, but that is my whole pitch. I actually love Rashad Penny too, but I'm going to take Ken Walker, who is, I can't call, it's so hard to call him Ken.
Walker. Yeah.
I know, it's so weird. Kenneth Walker to me always, but look, he is going as the 35th running back.
Great.
Rashad Penny is going at the 28th. I would rather take Kenneth Walker, who doesn't have all the injury concerns.
I know.
Who is as talented as Rashad Penny, in my opinion, right from the get-go. Chris Carson officially retired because, good for him, man. Good time to retire before you just completely destroy your body.
Yeah. Seahawks did it right too. He's going to get however they did it, he's going to get plenty of money. I mean, he's going to be good to go. Nothing
but respect. I think that's wonderful. Two running backs on a team that we don't think can throw yet. Right. They're going to get a lot of time, and Ken Walker can make a lot of people miss in a short amount of space. And I think that he can flourish even in an offense that is, just straightforward, kind of battle at the line. I think he can do a lot of really good things. I think right now people are underestimating. I think he'll rise a little bit after hearing about Chris Carson and all these things, but don't sleep on Ken Walker. A lot of people think of him as kind of a grinded out type of running back, but he is really a freak athlete as well. Insanely fast. He can do a lot of different things. So I think he will really catch a lot of people by surprise. So he will be on my list. If it wasn't for Dobbins and Etienne being, very high draft grades, and we've seen what else they can do as well, Ken Walker could easily be that number one breakout player.
As much as I love Penny, I love what he did at the end of the year. He's the number one running back in football, I think, over the last 5 games, I believe it was. Just amazing numbers. He looked like, wow, this is why they drafted this guy in the first round. Yeah, he's always hurt. He's always been hurt. He seems to be healthy right now, which could be really good, but
I think there's plenty of work for both of them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There might be in it, but if Penny were to go down, Walker is an absolute steal at where he is right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to grab him, later in drafts. I don't want to sleep on him too long, but
So, all right, there we go. There's running backs. Everybody else, I just don't see like we talked about the Williams and Akers, which other people are going to say. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Also, where they're going to.
Yeah. I love Ramondre Stevenson, right? I love the guy, but he has Harris in front of him. To just sit and put him as, that's a breakout. No, he can't be. He's a sleeper.
Yeah, a sleeper.
He's a sleeper because he has a guy in front of him, which other factors have to happen for him to get the work. Like when you're talking Walker, they're both gonna play.
He'll play, from day one he'll play.
But he has an actual guy in front of him who the injury concern is a great one, and that's probably why that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I mean, Rashad Penny can't stay healthy. Damian Harris doesn't have that problem that we know of. So
and Ken Walker would play if Chris Carson was healthy, then I could see whatever. But look, even if you think Rashad Penny is running back number one and he wants 60% of the carries, they'd be like, fine, well, 40 can go to Ken Walker. I'm still fine with that. And they're going to try to keep Rashad Penny healthy.
Yep.
Ken Walker is, you got to go for the young legs right now, and he's that in a very good situation. So love him, love.
All right, let's go to receiver. What do you got at receiver?
Who do I want to talk about first? There's a billion ways you can go on this. The guys that I truly believe in. Actually, who do you have first since mine is first?
So this is one that it's hard to say how much of a breakout it can be, but he's one of my favorite guys here. But I'm still going to go with it. It's Michael Pittman Jr. He was 16th last year. So you might look at, he kind of broke out. Yeah, but I think he can get to another level.
If you're getting in the top 10, that is definitely, that would be a breakout.
That's what I'm looking at. I have him ranked 10th right now, which is higher than the consensus. He's actually 12th, so a little bit higher, but he's going ADP 15. But Michael Pittman made a big jump in year 2. He went from 40 catches, 500 yards, a touchdown in year 1 to 88, 1,006. And you know what? I think he has a quarterback upgrade, Matt Ryan. I don't know if it's a massive upgrade, but it's an upgrade. And I just think he's going into year 3. He's just going to be better. I really like Michael Pittman a lot. And I think he jumps up to that next level into that top 10. So that's it's not as crazy of a breakout maybe as some, but it's at least a moderate breakout in my mind. That, yeah, Michael Pittman Jr., I'm getting him everywhere. I really like him. If you listen to the auction, I picked him up as my wide receiver 1 on our auction draft the other day. So Michael Pittman Jr., my first pick.
And there's a few guys that we can name at the end, but the one that I actually truly believe in, that I'm the most excited about, is Kadarius Tony. And I know you agree with me on this one too. The guy is unbelievable in the short amount of time that we've seen him. He looks the part. I think that he's one of the few wide receivers that has the ability to be in that kind of going from obscurity to top 10 wide receiver. I'm not even joking about that. And that's with being on the Giants and Daniel Jones. I think he has that type of talent. If he stays healthy and the Giants don't implode, he could be unfrickin' real. He has all of the ability in the world. So Kadarius Tony currently going at wide receiver 47. We only got to see him in a couple different games, but he showed out. He did really, really well. And if he was able to stay healthy and the Giants didn't implode, I think he would have had a large enough year where it would have been hard to call him a breakout. But right now, I mean, he's even ranked at 47. So, that breakout could be enormous.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I mean, the talent we saw in that game and a quarter, right? That's pretty much what it was. He was so good. So good. You saw it on the field how much better he was. And it was impressive.
Yeah.
I think you were starting to get there was a lot of like Odell Beckham's comparisons coming around, and he just looked so good. And then injuries.
And he was a rookie that I wasn't really high on. I didn't really get to see him a whole lot in college. So when I saw him play in the NFL, I was like, oh wow, like I slept on him, 100%.
Yep. So I'll go with my second pick here, Rashad Bateman. I like Rashad Bateman a lot, and there's no Marquise Brown anymore, right? Rashad Bateman is the wide receiver 1. He's probably the second though target guy there after Mark Andrews possibly, but Rashad Bateman, again, a high draft pick, was injured, didn't really get to he was injured. It was a rookie year, and he's injured. He didn't get much in camp. He didn't get to do much. I think you're going to see him really make a breakout this year. The other receivers currently on the depth chart that he is battling with for targets are going to be Devin, Duvernay, and James Broche are currently the next 2 up. And then like Tylan Wallace. There just isn't the guys there. And as much as we think they're going to run the ball a lot, right? They are. And I think they're going to – that's why I love Dobbins. Andrews is going to get his. Somebody's going to have to catch the ball too. And I think Bateman's going to have a pretty good season. So Rashad Bateman for me. He was like wide receiver 80 last year or something like that.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's hard to disagree. He has such a great situation that he's in. So yeah, I totally agree with you. The other one that is big for me, I've talked about quite a bit, and I'm going a little more out on a limb because we have to see how this turns out, but I still believe in the talent of Christian Watson. They didn't end up drafting or signing any other veterans, so he's going to get a lot of chances early on in the year, and I think out of that group, I choose him. I think that between the height and speed and the things I've seen his ability, I think that he's the one.
They didn't get Julio.
Nope, they didn't. Julio. And that was another thing we should talk about. That one cracks me up. And even on other like mock drafts and whatnot, I was like, you can always grab Julio late because he's going to get signed to a team. And then he goes to like we were always joking about the Packers. Right. We're like, that's a perfect situation. I didn't even think about the Bucs. No. That is actually a better one.
Yeah, and then it came down between the Bucs and the Packers, what all the reports have said, and he figured, I'm gonna go play with Tom Brady. That's basically what he decided.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, and that's perfect too. Godwin was hurt early. When Godwin comes back, all of a sudden, 3-headed beast. It's the same kind of thing. They're just stocking back up to make a run at it.
Which, what's crazy?
I thought this was going to be kind of a joke, but all of a sudden I'm kind of like, watch out for the Bucs, man.
Godwin didn't find himself on the PUP list.
That is wild.
That's crazy. So we'll see. But I'm not expecting big things from Julio for fantasy wise, but I'm happy in a way that he's not there at the Packers.
I don't want to. I hope that he has a pretty good year. So if he wants to retire, it doesn't have to be after last year, which would have just been like a, to such a Hall of Fame career.
It's so. Speaking more of the Packers, see Aaron Rodgers' comment today on Alan Lazard. He says he was talking about Javonte, and it's always tough going from one Hall of Famer to another. So, Allen Lazard, Hall of Famer.
I mean, that would be great.
I don't know if it's going to be Allen Lazard. But another guy I want to throw out there, this is one that I actually feel like maybe he's actually getting overvalued. So it's more of I think he is going to break out in the general terms of it, but I don't know how high he's gone. It's Gabe Davis. So Gabe Davis clearly I think is going to have a breakout season for what he's done in fantasy. The reason it doesn't feel like it is because of that one playoff game where he caught 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's like that was his breakout, right? That was the breakout. But when you look at his numbers, he had 35 catches for 549 yards last year and 6 touchdowns. He didn't do much. He was wide receiver 49. He's currently ranked wide receiver 25. So he's going to have a breakout season. I just don't know how I feel about him at wide receiver 25. I don't know if that feels like you're paying for something that clearly hasn't happened yet. But I think he's going to have a breakout. But so I'm going to throw out Gabe Davis. And the other one I want to throw out, one of these guys is going to break out. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. I don't know which one.
I know. I feel like it would have to be like a Jerry Jeudy, but right, Sutton could easily be on that list.
It's one of those two. I know there's going to be a Bronco receiver that really steps up. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's Jeudy. He was the higher draft pick. We think he's something, but he's looked okay. He was hurt, but he's looked okay. But Sutton's been hurt. It's hard to say what it's going to be, but I think one of those guys has a chance. So I don't know. Do you got any others?
No. I think those were the major ones.
And then tight end. Anything at tight end here? Anything that stood out to you?
Look, I don't really feel good about anyone, but Irv Smith is the one guy where I think he can truly break out. I still hesitate to fully endorse him,
right? But
he's the one at the end, and it feels like a second tight end for me to like grab if I got kind of a middling guy. Because I do think that, hey, give him a couple of weeks, see what he actually does. Super athletic. They need a third guy. He's healthy, everyone's saying, which is great. And Thielen is slowing down a bit. So it would open up a few more, targets for him. I think that he has the ability to jump into, say, the top 10 for sure, but, probably the top 7 tight ends, which is, more than enough. And honestly, it's so weak right now. He could easily be in the top 3 if he started catching touchdowns.
So, yeah, I don't really have anything that I don't know if I want to call it any sure breakouts here. I'm very interested, though, in Hawkinson and what considered he finished as a wide receiver or tight end 5 in 2020, right? So, but it wasn't like impressive. There wasn't anything impressive about it when he finished there, right? He had 67 catches, 723 yards, 6 touchdowns. I think he can really make a jump from that. And part of, I think, what Amon-Ra St. Brown played really well when Hawkinson wasn't there, and I think he was catching balls that Hawkinson would have caught. I can see Hawkinson back there and St. Brown taking more of a backseat and Hawkinson getting those balls and really stepping up. I don't know if I'm going to put my official. It's a weird one because he has been a fifth. He finished top 5 once.
Yeah,
but I just don't think that year was just a
tight.
For that to be a top 5 season, 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. No, I think he can get to 1,000. I think he could have 1,010 touchdowns. He's that kind of guy. So yeah,
I mean, you're talking about instead of a top 5 tight end, you're talking about a difference maker on the team.
Yeah, and I really think he can be that guy in year 4. That's where I'm going. So you know what? Hawkinson. There we go. Breakout. I'm went for it.
I like that too. I mean, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was a big proponent of him last year. I said what was going to happen the second half of the year. That one actually worries me more. He's getting a lot of love, and I feel like I think you make a very good point about Hawkinson being healthy.
Well, let me pull this up. I'm curious to the game log.
When
Hawkinson
maybe
went out and when St. Brown.
We'll see if you're
up.
correct. And also, Jameson Williams is a really talented wide receiver, and he will be healthy in the second half of the year. And I'm worried that Amon-Ra will start losing target share steadily. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean he's less of a player. It just means they have more options.
So Hawkinson's last game was in week 13. I don't remember what happened. If he went out in that game, he did have 8 targets, 4 catches, right? And Amon-Ra St. Brown's best game, his first big game, was week 13 that same week. So I don't know how that played out, but he did have 10 catches for 86 yards that game. It was weak, and then that was the last game Hawkinson played. So all that stretch, there was no Hawkinson. He had one overlap, and I just don't remember the situation if Hawkinson got hurt and then St. Brown took over. But that's it. Literally the entire stretch, he was when Hawkinson wasn't there. So it's interesting. There was no Hawkinson except, that one game.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can see how
you
many
forget,
snaps.
too, Swift was banged up, which is a very good, pass-catching back. Hawkinson got banged up. He missed since, week 13, like you said. And then they added DJ Chark this year, who can be a very good wide receiver. We'll see where he turns out to be, in the Lions. And then you added a top 10 draftable guy if it wasn't for the knee in their young gun. So, a lot more competition. I love Amon-Ra, but, we'll see.
Well, so there was the one overlap a little bit there, right? So I looked at Hawkinson played 85% of the snaps that game. And St. Brown did have 10 catches, so maybe not, but maybe the rest of the games were.
Well, you did say 10 catches for 85 yards, so everything was dink and dunk. Who were they playing, by the way?
Minnesota.
Okay.
So I don't know. We'll see. St. Brown, he only had one game where he did well with Hawkinson there. See if that's a thing. I think Hawkinson's going to have a big year. But all right, I think that's it for breakouts. I guess no surprise with the Dobbins and ETN stuff, but I really truly believe in it. So I think they're going to have big years. But that will do it for today. We'll be back next week.